YouTube, it's your girl Sierra
and Asia, and we are back with another video.
So for today's video, wait, before we get started, we haven't done a actual sit down video in about 6 months. Video, it's been a long time coming. We've had people, well, I've had people message me talking about when are you guys gonna post? When are you guys gonna post?
And we had a good reason. I was pregnant and
not good enough, but good for her. I'm just
okay.
Kidding. So now that Elias is 6 weeks old, we are gonna do a story time.
We haven't even to kind of do a quick update before we get into today's video. As you guys saw in the gender reveal, I had a boy and his name is Elias Christian Camacho. That's his full name. Basically, today's video we're gonna do a story time of the labor and delivery. Our previous video that we posted was a vlog from that day and just footage of what happened throughout the day, but today's video we're gonna explain step by step what happened, because it was a lot that happened and it was a very crazy and stressful day. Also, to mention, he was a NICU baby. He was in there for about 3 weeks or so, but we're gonna go into detail on that and how that happened, why he was there, and yada yada yada. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. All right, so to start off, hold on, let me pull up my little notes.
Dang, that's a lot.
And so I remembered. But I want to first start off, she's gonna chime in at the part that she was there, because first off, let me start off by who was in the room with me. So before I even get started on how it all happened, it was me, of course, Brandon, my husband, Sierra, my mom, my dad, his mom and dad, my aunt literally came, and then we had other people that came to visit here and there, but those were the main people that were there pretty much the whole time.
During her labor.
During the labor. And then during the part of me pushing, it was just my sister. It was still a lot of people. It was Brandon, my husband, Sierra, my mom, my aunt. My cousin kind of came in later.
And your husband's mom.
Oh yeah, and my husband's mom.
There's 6 of us.
So to start off, it was on December 5th. Okay, so on December 4th, I was at my house. I just came home from being at my parents' house with her, and I just got home, and I went to the bathroom.
Day, by the way.
Yeah, stuff happened, and it was a very stressful day, and I was already having contractions prior to that, a couple of days in a row. So I wasn't having I was starting to get labor, but it wasn't where it was in active labor where I had to be hospitalized for it. So basically on the 4th, when I had gotten home, it was 11 something at night, and I went to the bathroom, and when I stood up, I was dripping basically. So weird. I was dripping, so I was this is kind of weird. I don't know what to expect. I didn't know if it was my water or not, because I know some people say you can break fully break your water, or sometimes you can rupture, yeah, or you can kind of almost like a little balloon, make a little hole, and it kind of just leaks. So I was I don't know, I was asking Brandon, I was what should I do? This is not normal. I didn't pee myself. This is liquid coming out. So I called the hospital. I kind of explained. She's you should just come in to be checked, just to make sure. It could be your water. But I already went to the hospital 2 times before that, because I was having
almost, right?
No, that was my 3rd time that I went.
You sure?
I'm positive. So I went 2 times before that, and of course they sent me home. So I was kind of I don't know if I should go or not, but we ended up deciding to just go, and I said, let's bring the hospital back just in case, so if I do end up staying there, I don't have to come back home, or Brandon doesn't have to come back home. So anyway, went to the hospital. She checked. I was only 1 centimeter dilated, and she was I'm gonna check and see though if that liquid that came out was your water that broke. So she went and she checked it, and she was yep, you broke your water, not fully, but you did break it a little, so you have to be admitted in the hospital because it can cause infection and stuff like that. So immediately they had sent me up to the room, got all the IVs and stuff in me, and it was already the next day. Technically it was past midnight. So then I called them. Yeah, the 5th of December. So then I called my mom, told her, I was listen, this is happening, I'm gonna have this baby. So then the nurse told me that since I'm only 1 centimeter dilated, to kind of speed up the process, that she was gonna give me Pitocin, and that's supposed to intense the contractions to get me more dilated. So she put me on, right? Yeah, it was horrible. She put me on Pitocin. I was having contractions, but they were hurting, but it wasn't anything where I couldn't talk or move or anything like that. And they were telling me oh, you're gonna know when you're getting closer to giving birth, because the contractions, you're not gonna be able to talk, walk, blah blah blah. And I was just kind of well, I mean, they're not that bad right now, I can feel them. Little did I know, about not even a couple hours, I'm gonna say about an hour, I started getting them because they put that Pitocin up on me. And I started really feeling them throughout the night. And I literally was like crying. I was trying to walk and move and
the vlog's up if you want to see it.
Yeah, but I didn't have, I did vlog part when like I was kind of having a contraction, which it was bad. I was literally crying. Meanwhile, this whole time in my head, I was like, I'm gonna try as best as I can to do a natural birth. We'll get into that too. So I was like, I was in my head and I was telling my husband, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. Like right now, this is so bad. I don't even know how many centimeters dilated it was, because she hadn't checked me again. And she said pretty much that they weren't gonna check me again until I was feeling like a lot of pressure down there. So I was like, oh great. So then it hits about 7 in the morning and I'm like literally bawling my eyes out. I called my mom and I was like, I cannot deal with this. They had to check me again and I was still 1 centimeter dilated for 7 hours. So I was getting really frustrated and I was like, all this pain, I cannot just be 1 centimeter dilated. Like this is insane right now. So then she was talking to me about possibly getting an epidural, my nurse. So I was like, I don't know, because I heard like, you know, you can have back pain and stuff like that. But I was just like, I just want to wait till my mom came. So then she came at like, what, 8 something? They came, it was her, my mom and my dad. They came at 8 something in the morning. And I was talking to my mom about it. And she was like, it's okay if you get epidural. Like some women, they need it. You're still giving birth. You're still having a baby. Like, it doesn't matter. Like if you want to get it and make you feel better, just get it. So then I was like, you know what, this is moving too slow for me.
But you were 2 centimeters back when you got it.
Yeah, they checked me one more time before I decided like, yeah, I'm just gonna get it. And I was 2 centimeters, but I was like, literally it's been 8-9 hours and I'm going this slow. Like I can't handle this forever. So I was like, you know what, just give me the epidural at this point. I cannot handle this anymore. So then got the epidural.
Then you were fine for like a couple hours.
Yeah, so then I got the epidural. We had to put the mask on. They had to leave. And
you were fine. It was just that it was taking forever. Like,
yeah.
Like,
once I got the epidural, like I was good.
You
like
didn't feel
I was
like
feeling
pain until
you could see on the monitor too, like the contractions going up, and I didn't feel a thing. But it's very weird. So they do the needle that they do in the back, which kind of scared me, and they were like, you cannot move. And I was like, oh my god, when you tell me that, it's like I want to move.
Especially if you're having a contraction, you can't move.
I know. And I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, they gave me the epidural, and you literally from the waist down cannot feel a thing, and it's so weird. Like I'm happy,
but it's
and
not completely numb though, right? Like it used to be worse where you couldn't feel anything.
No,
now you can, like, because you were able to move one of your legs.
Like I had to have my hand like,
yeah.
But anyway, so basically from the waist down, you're pretty much numb. And it's weird. Like I liked the epidural and I did not, because I don't like not being able to feel my, I don't know. I mean, during the time, if I have that bad pain, I'll probably be like, yeah, give me that again. But when you have that epidural, it's hard to explain. It's like, it's almost like you're paralyzed, basically. And one of my legs literally was like swelling up. Remember that? It was like, one of my legs was fine. It was just like my right leg that just kept swelling up for some reason.
And it felt like extra heavier.
Yes, and I couldn't, like,
even when she was pushing, we had to hold that way. We would let it go and it would go like that, and I was like, oh goodness.
Literally, I had to like pull my legs if I wanted to move. Like it was just hard. Like if I wanted to just scooch up a little, it took so much energy, because I feel like I was lifting just dead weight there, just like hanging. Yeah, so this whole time, ever since my water kind of broke, I was bleeding. So like I wasn't bleeding like a lot, like a period or something, but I was bleeding. Like you can see it in the urine. And when I got the catheter, like, and they have the bag attached to it, like I would ask them like, how does it look in there, and she would see blood. So they were like, oh well, maybe I don't. So basically, because of the bleeding, they did not want to check me too much, because they didn't want to risk infection, because my water had broke, and that's what they thought it was from.
But she did say,
but they never really gave me an answer on that.
She did say that it wasn't normal, though, that you're not supposed to start bleeding till
but what's crazy, they said it wasn't normal, but didn't have an answer for it. They were like, oh, it's not normal.
Same thing with this feeling, like, nah, it's not normal, but you're fine.
I'm like, alright, well, hopefully I don't die up in here. Like, hopefully you guys know what you're doing. And once I got that epidural, it was pretty much smooth.
For the next couple hours.
You know, some parts, not the whole thing. Then my aunt came to see me, and then they all were hungry, so they left, including Brandon. Because he went downstairs to the cafeteria, and you guys went out to Walmart to get food or whatever. While they were all gone, and I was in the room, they had a doctor come, checked me. She then told me I was 3 centimeters dilated. Look, see, from the last time in the morning that I was 2 to now, which is only 3 centimeters. And then at that time, she was like, you know what, I'm gonna fully break your water. So she breaks my water. Oh my God, it was so weird. Like, I just felt like I had, you couldn't really feel, but you could feel. Like, I could just feel liquid, like, all on me. It was, anyway, it was weird. So she fully broke my water, and they were like, yes, this should really speed up the process now. Should. So AKA should. So I was just like, all right. So then they all came back in, and honestly, it was just waiting, pretty much. But they basically kept asking the nurse, like, why is it taking so long, and blah blah blah. So they didn't have a doctor at that time, so they sent a midwife in, and she was like, it was right. But basically, it was taking so long, they had asked the midwife to come in and recheck me again to kind of see. And basically what she decided was, she checked me. She said I was still 4 centimeters dilated. She said that the baby's head was swollen and that his face was turned to the side.
Yeah, like he was facing the window this way instead of facing like this way to come out.
Yeah, so he was facing the wrong direction, and she said his head was, like, she could feel swelling. So she said they were going to stick some type of tube in me to kind of see how well the contractions were working.
I said transactions.
Really? She said I don't know what it was called, but they were going to stick something inside me that was supposed to see how well the contractions were working and how it was supposed to dilate me or something like that.
And they were going to give her 2 hours to see where she goes. And oh, yeah, because if not, they were going to give her, they were talking about doing a C-section because she was going so slow. They
were saying because the process was going so slow, she was going to stick that thing inside and see how the contractions are working. And she said, and this is the midwife talking, not the nurse, the midwife that came in, because there was no doctor there.
But before the midwife came, though, the nurse was already telling you, like, about a C-section.
She was talking about it
because she knew it was taking so slow.
Basically, my mom was kind of like, well, what are we supposed to do? She's not dilating and stuff. She's like, I mean, there is options in looking to C-section. I really didn't want a C-section. Like, if that was the only way, then of course. But, like, I really wanted to try it vaginally first. But so yeah, she kind of just like opened the door on the whole C-section thing. And then the midwife came and she said, in 2 hours after we check, you know, your contractions and stuff with that little tube, if it's not progressing, that we're going to give you a C-section. Meanwhile, this is right before 7 p.m. before the new nurse comes in and my morning nurse leaves. So then that happens, and literally the night nurse comes. And I don't know if she didn't know about the 2 hour thing, but nobody mentioned the 2 hours anymore, or a C-section.
Well, we left to go eat, and then we came back, and then there was a new nurse.
Yeah, then the night nurse, well, I didn't go anywhere. They went. The night nurse came, and basically I was just so like kind of like over everything. I didn't even remember about that until after everything happened. Like, I didn't remember about the 2 hours. I think Mom did and Titi, but I kind of like forgot about it. So when the night nurse
back at like 9:30, I think it was.
Yeah, when the night nurse originally came, she was like, she came in and she was like, we're gonna do everything we can to make you give birth vaginally. So the first thing she did, she uses the peanut ball and she places it between my legs, and she said, we're gonna rotate you every like 30 minutes or an hour, right? Something like that. We're gonna rotate you side to side in different positions every 30 minutes to an hour, something like that, to help, you know, speed up the process. And then she put my Pitocin. Meanwhile, I'm still on Pitocin on all this, and ever since they got me the C-section, they would keep putting the Pitocin up since I really wasn't feeling the contractions. They were like, oh, we're gonna put this up to help you speed up the process, but it really never did. But when she came and she was putting me in all those positions and she put the Pitocin up, then literally from then on, I would say about 3 hours after she came, basically at 10:28 around, no, but at 10 o'clock I was feeling heavy pressure. They were putting me side to side, and then she put me like sitting in the middle, my legs kind of like this. Oh, yeah. And just to kind of like let the baby just like drop. And when I tell you, that was like the worst pain ever. It was worse than the contractions in my opinion, like the amount of pressure I was feeling down there. And I was telling her, please, I was begging her, I said, please have somebody check me. Like, I know I am more dilated than I was. And literally I jumped from 4 to 9 centimeters dilated in that 3 hours mark, and from her turning me side to side and putting my Pitocin up and all that stuff. So
after though she hit 9, they said she had to wait 1 hour to hit 10, and then when she hit 10 she can start pushing.
Yeah, and then An hour goes by. She ended up making me wait an hour, and she comes back in, and she's like, "Oh, I don't even think she checked me. She was just like, all right, we're gonna go ahead and push. We're gonna get ready now." And it was so weird. Like I don't know, when you think about it in your head, you just think it's gonna be this big thing when like, oh my god, you're about to push. She just put
sat on the bed.
Yeah, it was just so nonchalant. Like they just put my legs up, and she's like, "All right, you're gonna give me a big push, like you're taking a poop, and we're gonna do this."
Because if y'all don't know, the doctor doesn't help her push until the baby like crowns, which means their head's already coming out, and there's a long way to go before his head gets there.
So for some people,
well, most people for their first baby, but
so yeah, she just kind of just sat there, and she was like, "All right, go ahead and push."
It was her and
so I'm like pushing and pushing.
2 of them.
Yeah, we had 2 nurses that night. So I'm like pushing and pushing, literally with all my might. And she's like, "You're doing good, you're doing good. He's almost there," literally from like the second push. So I'm here thinking like, okay, we should get this done in like an hour or so. And honestly, from that point on, I have blacked out so many times that I really don't remember a lot of stuff. Because I literally was pushing for 4.5 hours. When she told me the average for a new mom would be 2 hours. Like, that was ridiculous. I had lost all my energy while pushing, and what annoyed me so much is that everyone kept saying, "You're almost there, you're almost there." 2 hours in, "You're almost there, 3 hours in, you're almost there." I'm like, will you guys just shut up right now? Like, I'm not almost there. Literally at one point, like, they gave me this bar thing and they put a towel around it, and I had to like push, and like basically what they have you do is do like this and then just push, and she's like, just basically like you're taking a big poop. And then I had that bar thing, like a towel or something, right? And then I was like pushing.
Because basically he would come out and then go back. And there's a reason that he was doing that, by which we'll get there. But yeah, he kept coming out, like we could see his hair, and then he'd go back, and then he'd come out.
It was like a little suction cup, like something kept sucking him back in.
Yeah, like a little bungee.
They even put a mirror so I can see. They're like, "Do you want a mirror to help you? Maybe it'll help you." And I'm just like, like I literally was, I looked like I was on drugs or something. I blacked out, honestly. I really don't remember. And then all I could remember was that, because you can't eat and you can't drink when you're in labor. They don't give you nothing. They give you ice chips or popsicles. And literally my mouth felt like I had swallowed sandpaper or something. Like, it was so dry.
Oh, I remember something.
And I was so dehydrated that I kept asking them ice chips, and I would just like literally take it and like just do this all in my mouth, because I literally was like so dehydrated. We were pushing, we weren't pushing, she was pushing for so long that she would have to do push a contraction and then sit through one, push through one and then sit through one. Yeah, pause.
So basically before that, it was like 3:40 or so, and then she called in. The other nurse said she went to go pee, but she really went to go get the doctor. And then she went to get the actual doctor that would deliver the baby technically. And so he came in, and then once he came in, do you remember what he told you or no?
No.
He was basically telling her like to like all the yelling, because she was like,
oh, that I remember.
Like, basically like all the yelling that she was doing is not gonna help, basically, to stop yelling and like just like focus on your pushings or whatever. Do you remember?
Because I was literally like screaming and crying at the same time. I was like, please, like I can't. And I was telling her like, I cannot do this anymore. I don't know how you're gonna get this baby out, but I cannot push anymore. Like, I was basically like begging her like, please, I don't want to do this anymore. And then all I can remember is when he came in and he was like, you need to stop screaming. He literally was like, you're wasting all your energy, stop screaming. And then he was kind of like helping me with my leg. So basically he was like, he put my foot like right on his like side here and was like helping me push. But when he came, everything was like
30 minutes after he came, the baby
smooth
was
sailing
out.
When he came. I don't know what he did, but
he was
coaching me.
Yeah, on the correct way to push and like how long to hold it for and all that stuff. And then literally 30 minutes after he came, he had to cut her too. What do you call it?
Oh yeah, he gave me a episiotomy. I didn't go, he didn't cut me all the way to my rectum or anything like that, or didn't tear your rectum, your butthole.
I could just say butthole. He didn't cut her to her butthole.
He gave me an episiotomy because if I didn't have an episiotomy, that baby was not coming out, literally, because I'm small.
I saw him
my
put the scissors and I was like,
I didn't feel a thing though. This is when everything got all crazy and was just
took a turn
hot
for
mess.
the worse.
So basically when he came out, I kind of was in a daze, but as soon as he pulled him out, he saw that the umbilical cord was like wrapped around his shoulder and his waist, and he was not crying. He was very,
keep in mind, the doctor was very calm. Like
baby came out when Elias came out. He literally looked, I feel weird saying this, but he looked dead. Like he looked like just his whole body was like blue. The umbilical cord was dropping. The doctor was
his head was like this big.
Yeah, he had like a peanut head.
And then they pressed a blue button, or like a button, and we were confused at first. We were just like, you know.
Meanwhile, this whole time, I didn't know what was going on.
He wasn't breathing when he came out initially, so they had to call code blue. And basically, so when they called code blue, you normally over the speakers, you hear like beeping, and they hear like code blue, but in the room, you couldn't really hear it. You just see them press the button. And then so we were kind of like, what are they pressing that button for? Like, we were confused, but in the
I didn't know what was going on. I thought he was perfectly fine. I just didn't hear him cry.
And then he didn't cry. And then in the waiting room was our dad and her husband's dad, and they were in the waiting room, and then all they saw was that's what they told us, was that they heard they were sleeping, they heard like the beeping and stuff, and all they saw was doctors or the NICU team run through like the
hallway
waiting room, and then they knew that it was, well, they had a feeling it was for Asia
and stuff. But you can see that he's very like lethargic, almost like he's not fully awake. Or so,
by the way, for everybody who saw the labor and delivery vlog, the reason we didn't film it while she was pushing, because I know we said we were going to, was because the hospital that she delivered at didn't allow that. Like, it's against the policy or whatever. We weren't going to show like our business. We were just going to show like her upper half. But in case you're wondering why it wasn't in that vlog, was because we're not allowed to.
So they put this tube in him, an oxygen tube to help him breathe. And then about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes after them doing that, then they were like, oh, we can basically, and in this whole time they're not saying that anything is like too major. I mean, of course everyone's crying because they're like, oh my god, he's not breathing, like, is he okay?
But the NICU team seemed
they seem pretty. They put him on my chest for literally like 2 minutes, because like, Mom, we're gonna have to take him to the NICU, but we'll let you do like a quick second literally of skin to skin. The NICU nurse had came back that day, and they were like, oh, we're just gonna keep an eye on him because he did come out not breathing. We want to make sure that he's fine,
but he should be out, right?
He should be out. If he needs to stay longer, we'll let you know, but he should be fine. The next day we end up visiting him in the NICU, and he doesn't seem like bad or anything like that. I have a picture. If I find it, I'll insert it.
We have a lot of pictures of him in the NICU, and then like after what she's gonna talk about, like of tests and stuff that they've done, so we'll insert whatever.
This is a long video, by the way.
I know, I just realized that. But we'll insert.
When I get to the NICU, everything seemed pretty much fine. Like, they were like, oh, the only thing is he's not really eating. Like, he doesn't want to take the bottle, and he was crying for a long time.
He had a feeding tube though.
Not originally, not when we first went down there.
Mm.
And she had told me, oh, we're gonna try bottle feeding again. You come down in 2 hours and you can hold him and everything. I was like, all right. So I come back 2 hours later, and all of a sudden it's not what it was before. He's not good anymore. They tell me that he had seizure-like activity when we were gone, so I was freaking out. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, seizure-like activity? Like, what are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, he was basically doing a motion where he would, like,
twitch.
Yeah, twitch, but it was like the same thing. So his arm and his leg would just go like this on one side of his body. So that's what they call seizure-like activity. It happened when we weren't there, so I wasn't able to hold him anymore. And then I had visited him again that day. It was either that day later or the next day, I don't remember. And while we were in the room, me and Brandon see him going like that. And I was looking at him, and I was like, I don't know what's wrong. Should we call the nurse? So we call the nurse, and they bring a whole team in there, and they're like, yes, he's having a seizure. We have to give him medicine, blah, blah, blah. So they immediately give him phenobarbital, something like that, seizure medication. They're like, yes, basically for sure he's having seizures. So now instead of saying seizure-like activity, they are confirming that he is having seizures. So they put him, that he's gonna be on medication. Basically tell me he's gonna be in here for a while. Like, you know, I don't want to get your hopes up high, but he is gonna be here for a little while. So 2 days later after him being born, he started lighting up on all that seizure-like activity. I think he had 3 in total while he was there. Yeah, seizures. 3 in total. They upped his medication a lot though, which made him super drowsy. We'll insert pictures on how he was, because literally he would not wake up at all. Like, Sierra would come in, my mom would play with him, like he would just be there. Literally, he would not
try to get him to hold his hand, and he was like,
the medication like literally knocked
It was
him
like
out.
sedated, basically.
Yeah, bad in the beginning, but after about 5 days, I would say, it started lighting up, and it was getting, you know, a little bit better each day. After the MRI and stuff, they basically said that he, like, there was nothing major that they could see in the brain besides a little bit of swelling and like some blood, not on the brain, but like what they say, like above the brain or something like that. But they said it's normal when babies are born. So the seizures basically stopped. He was still on the medication, but what was preventing him from going home was bottle feeding. That was like a big obstacle we had to like overcome with him while being in the NICU. Like, since all that trauma happened to him in the beginning, it was hard for him. But that was going on for about 2 weeks that we were trying to get him to bottle feed, and it was so frustrating because that was the only thing that was keeping him there at that time, because like I said, he didn't have a seizure since December 8th. Pretty much, long story short, we finally got him to drink all his bottles. That's when I stayed overnight for 2 days in a row. So yeah, on Christmas Eve, they gave me the news that he would be able to come home Christmas Day. So December 25th, 2018 was the best day, guys. We got to take him home on Christmas Day, and literally we surprised everyone.
I have a video of that too. At the end, stay tuned for all the videos of what he looks like. We're gonna, if he's awake, we'll show him.
One more time. Literally.
If he's awake, we'll show.
So guys, that concludes the story time. This was really long, but you know, it was a long labor and delivery, so we had to try and explain it as best as we can. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to give this video a big old thumbs up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can be notified every single time we post. Turn on that bell for notifications, and thank you guys for watching. Peace, deuces, we out.